Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us for this week's Thursday with AARP Wisconsin streaming show. I am Amber Miller, your host. Before we get to our guest, please, as a friendly reminder, this show is pre-recorded, but if you have any questions or comments during the show, we invite you to post them below if you're watching on Facebook.com page or YouTube page, and we will make sure to get back to you. As a friendly reminder, please remember to check out the AARP Wisconsin website where you'll find information about upcoming events, advocacy information, outreach, and fraud. So you could go to the website below, which is aarp.org/WI. Please also remember the Friendly Voice initiative that started during when COVID started, and it is free. And you could be any age. You do not need to be an AARP member. But what it is you could put a request in for yourself or for your loved one to receive a phone call from one of our AARP trained volunteers, because as we know, it's nice to hear a friendly voice on the other end of the telephone. So if you're interested in that for yourself or for your loved one, you could go to the website below, which is aarpcommunityconnections.org, or you can call 1-888-281-0145. If you are interested in volunteering with AARP Wisconsin, we'd love for you to join our family. You can go to the website below, which is aarp.org/I-want, 2. So I want to volunteer, which takes you right to the application with additional information on opportunities that might be of interest to you. So we have openings for outreach, presentations, both virtual and in person. We have advocacy, we have fraud, we have admin, but we'd love for you to consider us if you're looking for volunteer opportunities. So once again, you can go to the website below, and as soon as you fill out that application, one of the staff members will get back to you to chat further. So once again, friendly reminder, this is pre-recorded, but today we have, and you guys always come to watch the show anytime Helen's on, so I'm excited. But today we're joined by Helen Marks Dicks with the AARP Wisconsin Advocacy team, and we're going to talk a little bit about broadband advocacy and what AARP is doing about that. So welcome, Helen.
So it's good to be here.
Thank you. Always good to have you. Helen, so broadband and high-speed internet. So what is it and why do we hear so much about it?
Well, what it is the number one means of communications right now. High-speed internet, which we call broadband in Wisconsin, they're kind of interchangeable. And what it really is a network that allows high-speed internet to come into your home and go out from your home, and to transmit information, pictures, images, sounds, so that people can communicate across long distances. We got very interested in this at AARP because of telehealth. We have so many rural, isolated people that weren't having access to medications and medical treatment. So this method of being able to connect people all over the place is just wonderful. If it works, and if you have it, and if you can afford it.
Correct, because we know, and it's kind of interesting, especially with some of the online workshops that we do, that not everybody has access to this benefit that a lot of us have on a daily basis and that we might even take for granted. So I appreciate what AARP is doing in the telehealth. Helen, I couldn't echo that more, especially during COVID, how many people were using that telehealth as the only way to connect with their doctor. And if you don't have broadband or high-speed internet, it could be detrimental to your health.
It really could. And, particularly for people who need specialists or services that might not be available locally. We used to think that high-speed internet and access to the internet was kind of a luxury. Mm-hmm. It was for entertainment and stuff like that. That's not true anymore. It's really become a necessity. You search for jobs, you fill out forms for public benefits, you book your vacations. I mean, it's all the way from just frivolity and amusement to some pretty significant health impacts and pretty significant ways to deal with isolated seniors.
And Helen, I know that you stated that AARP, wants high-speed internet to be accessible. We all want that, affordable and reliable, which I think we all have dealt with issues with reliability. So if we could go through those three attributes and what is being done to make it more accessible to people in Wisconsin.
Well, two things happened that helped a lot. One is that the legislature in the last budget increased the amount of money that's going to grants, broadband grants to the Public Service Commission that would provide services to unserved and underserved areas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of people because, we talk about that there is 36% of rural Wisconsin doesn't have access. But that figure is very misleading because they count access by census tracts. So if they have two people that have high-speed internet, they say that area has a high-speed internet.
Oh.
Phooey. That is not true. It is, I'd like to see them count it by zip code, something smaller, something easier to get your hand on. But you're right. There's a lot of work done to make sure that these grants and a lot of the AARP money and the rescue plan money and some of the new infrastructure money is going to the expansion of actual broadband services in the way of wiring, in the way of cell phone towers, in the way of, there's about 10 ways they can deliver internet services. So that is a significant amount of money is being invested in that. And we lobbied for a lot of that.
And Helen, if our viewers are watching this who have high internet, high speed internet, which would be great, but what can people do to make it more affordable? Because even like I'm in the city of Milwaukee, people have access to it here, but it's just really expensive. And it comes back to, is it a need or is it a want? And now it's more of a need. We need this. So what can people do to make it more affordable?
Well, I'm going to send you, as I always do, to a website called AARP.org/ACP. ACP stands for the Affordable Connectivity Program, and this is a program that provides $30 a month towards your internet bill, which really helps you. And it also gives you some money towards buying a device because there's no point in having internet access if you don't have a device to get it on. Correct. And I'm going to give a phone number because it always strikes me a little funny that we give people website addresses to try to get high-speed internet when you probably don't have a way to get there. Correct. So the phone number is 1-833-511-0311. And do you want me to repeat that?
If you could, Helen, please.
1-833-511-0311.
Beautiful. And we do have it on the screen right there. I'm sorry, Helen. We do have it on the screen right there also, but go ahead, Helen.
The other place you can call just to find out if there's internet service in your area before you get to the how you pay for it is the Public Service Commission has an internet and phone helpline. And that Public Service Commission is Wisconsin specific. And so they're helping our people. And the number is on that one is 608-267-3595. And that is a really good resource also. So there are some qualifications. I mean, the Affordable Connectivity Program is something that is based on financial status. But if you're receiving any kind of help in, free and reduced rate lunches, if you're a SNAP beneficiary, if you're on any of the Medicaid programs, there's a really wide range of eligibility. If you're a tribal member, the $30 a month goes up to $70 a month. And I misstated that. If the household is on tribal land,
okay,
as opposed to having to have tribal registration, then you will end up having a higher benefit. But that will help towards the cost. There are also some free places that provide refurbished and redone devices.
Mm.
And so that's another way to keep your costs down.
Helen, do you possibly know if that $30 benefit, is it even if you have existing like
Yes.
internet? Okay, so it doesn't have to be I don't have the internet, so I'm going to do it. It could be I have the internet and I could still use that benefit.
Right. The one hook on that, when you already have the benefit, it has to be that the provider has a program. Not
Okay.
every provider is participating in the Affordable Connectivity Program, but the vast majority of them are. So that should be a good way to get things. We
And
did have a scam going here in Wisconsin. One of the providers said, "Oh, yeah, we'll set you up for the $30 benefit, but then you have to up your service to a higher level, which will cost you $30 more a month." If you get that kind of response from your provider, I would call the Public Service Commission.
yes, most definitely. I do think if our viewers are watching this, it's worth just looking into. It's worth just looking into whether it's for yourself or for a loved one. That $30 benefit really could help offset the cost of internet, and especially because we know once again it's more of a need now. We need it for telehealth. We need it to stream our favorite shows. It's definitely a need. Absolutely. Um,
Which brings
Helen,
us to reliability.
reliability. That was going to be my next question. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things is you buy the service and they tell you you're getting all this service and then it never works and it's down. You have to wait 10 minutes for anything to happen and it keeps circling or whatever. There is a way free that you can do with a single activity. You can both let the Public Service Commission know this is going on, and they will give you a free speed test to see if you really are getting what the provider tells you. And that's something called the WISER program. It stands for Wisconsin Internet Self-Report. It's a form you fill out on the Public Service Commission's website. And when you fill that out, they'll be in contact with you and they will do the speed test. And they're kind of in interest. They're doing this not only to help people find out if they're getting what they're paying for, but also to find out how really reliable the reporting by the providers are about what they're providing to people. Because, we have an awful lot of places where people say, I can't get internet services, and the providers are saying we got it covered. Not necessarily true.
No, that's very true. And I love the fact that, and we'll make sure we know that website's a little long. We'll put it in the notes for today that, yeah, you say, you're being charged X amount of dollars for high speed, but maybe you're not getting the high speed. And that's very interesting. We can all remember the dial-up days, back in the day, and we know how slow that was. So if you feel like you want to check that, please make sure to go to that website. So Helen, now I have the service and the device, which that you kind of talked about, and have no idea how it works or what I should do next. So we're getting people excited of like, you might be able to get a device, you could get, this monetary help to help you offset the cost. So what would be next steps and where would I get help?
Well, the next steps are really two-part. Number one, you have to know how to put together the device and hook everything up, which is technical support. And the other thing is you need training on how all these things work. I looked for a statewide service, and it was almost impossible because it's very regional, because people need hands-on help and they need hands-on training. But we have something in Wisconsin called libraries, and they're wonderful. And many of the libraries are providing training. And even when they aren't, the libraries have a lot of information about who is doing training, where you can get reduced expense devices, who you can get technical help for. And so my advice, when you get down to that, it's just me against the world. I got all the things they say I should have, and now what do I do next? Go to your library. Libraries are wonderful, and librarians have a wealth of information, and what they can't do for you, they usually know who can. And so between the libraries, fill in the gaps at the bottom of the big supply chain. We have the state, the federal government putting money in for more accessibility. We have the Public Service Commission and others making sure it works. We have people refurbishing equipment. But when it all is said and done, you end up at your library and say, help, I need to learn something. Library is a great place to start.
Yeah, I will say before COVID, AARP did do some in-person hands-on training when it came to iPads and iPhones and Androids. And we have not brought that back, obviously, yet because of COVID. But I love, let's plug the libraries, the senior centers, the community centers. There are a lot of resources out there to help. And also ask a family, a friend, a neighbor, a grandchild. We know my 7-year-old or 10-year-old niece is always teaching me something new on my iPad or my iPhone. So there's definitely resources out there. And Helen, I'm going to give you the last word about what AARP has been doing for broadband for the folks in the state of Wisconsin.
Well, a lot of it, we've done a couple of things. We've done a lot of lobbying to make sure there's money coming in. Mm-hmm. We have made sure that the information gets out to people in an educational sense. I serve on a digital equity and inclusion stakeholders committee, which actually looks into make sure that the providers and others, that all the money doesn't flow to people who have Cadillacs getting Mercedes of internet, making sure it goes to unserved and underserved areas. We've just created a bookmark with all the information, the contacts we talked about today. We're going to do some mailings. We plan to do a teletown hall over the summer because it seems to me I have to reach people by mail and I have to reach people by phone when I'm talking about you don't have internet service. There's a part of me that just reaches down and I send everybody an email. More people have email because of their phone service. Sometimes they have email that way, but it's really hard to, everything ends up with an internet connection somewhere unless you do it by mail and by phone. So AARP Wisconsin is in there. We're going to get out as much information as we can over the summer. We're going to be places like farm days, giving out, information to, we have a particular interest in hitting the rural areas and the underserved areas so that people, even if all they can do is call and complain that they don't have internet service to their elected official, it gives them some sense of urgency to make sure they get that service into their area. So that's what we're doing. And I'm talking to you to get as many people that listen to you to understand what we're doing and what they can do to make it more affordable and reliable. They have to lean on the elected officials to make it accessible.
Well, Helen, always a joy. You always bring such great topics related to advocacy and all the good stuff that you're doing, AARP Wisconsin is doing. So I want to just thank you so much for being on today's show.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm always overjoyed to be here.
Okay, thank you so much, Helen. Good to see you. Bye. And as always, we like to plug upcoming events that might be of interest to you. So Thursday, June 9th, we have Movies for Grown-Ups. We have Prince Philip, the Man Behind the Throne. The June 10th, we also have another movie, which is Roman Holiday. Monday, June 13th, we're going to have our friends from Red Cross of Wisconsin talking about, are you prepared for a disaster? And we're going to be talking specifically about a couple things, but specifically about tornadoes, because we know that tornado season is upon us. Tuesday, June 14th, cooking class, Moroccan chicken lemon skewers. That sounds delicious. And Wednesday, the 15th, AARP Elder Watch, addressing the unique experience women have with finances. You can find all that information below on the AARP Wisconsin website or by calling the phone number to register. Small Dollar Big Impact is a grant that we do every month that nonprofits, municipalities, or similar can apply for. This would be up to $1,000 and for unique out-of-the-box ideas that would impact your community and specifically the 50-plus population. The next application is due June 21st. You can find the application and additional information at aarp.org/WIS SDBI, which stands for Small Dollar Big Impact. You can find information there. And for next week's show, this will be a live show. You will be able to meet our new state director, Martha Cranley. Martha started with us about a month ago, and you'll be able to meet her. I'll be asking her some questions about past experience and what she's looking forward to for AARP Wisconsin. So you can join us back here next week, the 16th, I think it says. Sorry, the timer's above it. Thursday at noon, either on our Facebook.com page or our YouTube page. So I want to thank so much. Once again, reminder, this was a pre-recorded show, but you can please post your questions or comments below. And we look forward to seeing you next week during our live show. And until then, be safe.